folks. How's everybody doing? Saturday morning. It's time to take it easy a little bit. Trained hard this week, so I'm going to do a warm-up, just a general warm-up. And this general warm-up is the one I use in my in a lot of my programming, and it's used in the 5 days of training. So the insane home WODs that you can do. If you want to download to see what this warm-up looks like, but also the workout that goes with it, just drop me something in the comments below. If it's a GIF, that's awesome, or just a comment. I'll get that sent out to you. Toot sweet, and you can give them a shot. It's 5 days of really tough workouts I do with my my selection guys. So the guys that are and girls that are deciding that they want to hit the next level in their military careers. But really, anybody that wants to step up their game performance-wise, these workouts are just a snapshot of what they're doing in that program. So without further ado, let's get into it. So it's not going to take that long. The only thing you'll need, I'm just using a skip rope, but you could use a hockey stick, anything that you can, or even an elastic band. We're going to be doing some pass-throughs, so I'll show you what that is in a second. But everything else you can do from home without any equipment for this particular set of exercises in the warm-up. I'm just going to bring the camera down a little bit here. Okay, there we go. So we're going to start with a dead bug. So this was shown to me by my coach LP, and really kind of exposes your ability to generate tension down the midline and maintain some stability while going into a hollow position. So I'll just give you a demo on what that is. And yeah, you probably noticed I'm rocking my socks. These are my tour socks. Feet are freezing, so I'm gonna hike them up for extra added value. So here we go, the dead bug. I'm gonna do it from the front and from the side, just to give you an idea. I'm gonna do 10. So there's a few variations we can do here. So we're gonna start, and you know what, I'll do it from the side. No, I won't do it from the side. You see, extend my legs. So the goal here is I want to make sure that my lower back is got contact with the ground. And so the first variation, basically, it's knees bent. Okay, my head's back, touching the ground. My lower back is flat against the ground. My arms are up, and you can just start with one arm. Okay, and then the goal here is to get one arm, one leg. Okay, now the goal is to make sure that low back doesn't arch. Okay, so you want to make sure that it's nice and flat on the ground, and you want to make sure you have control the entire time. So this can be hard because there's a lot of coordination involved. So you're going to notice there's a lot of tension in your abs, and if you lose that low back from touching the ground, then just modify. So if I'm here, just go with the legs. Okay, if you can maintain just with the legs, awesome. Okay. So if you can do opposite arm, opposite leg, we're going to do 5 per side. Doesn't have to be fast. And you should feel your abs starting to turn on. I'm going to do one more each side. All right. Cool. All right, so those are your dead bugs. You can do them every day. And you can really ramp up the amount, the volume that you do. It just, if we're doing anything overhead especially, it's good to incorporate just connecting the torso with the lower body, making that connection, through the neural connections is really important too. Next is the no push-up burpee. So again, this is just part of a warm-up, so it's not meant to be crazy intense. So we're going to do 10 of those. So the no push-up burpee, I'm just going out into the push-up position and popping back up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and one more. 10. And then we go into the inchworm. So the inchworm, we're just going to be warming up the whole upper body, even with the posterior chain a little bit. So we're just going to start from the standing, and we're just going to walk it out. Okay, and then come back in, and then step back up. So do a few more of those. Okay. So this is great. I usually do this before every bit of work. A little bit of tension down the midline. Gets the shoulders working. You get a little bit of stretch as you come back in your hamstrings and calves. I lost count. Where are we at? 5, 6. We'll do 4 more. So nice and slow, it's not a race. Come back. 2 more. One more. And done. Okay. Next up, what do we have? We have pass-throughs. Normally I do these standing, but my ceiling's a bit too low. So that's why I have the skip rope here. And you can take anything. Skip rope's a bit more forgiving. Hockey stick is less. So you're going to extend your arms, and this is just going to open up the shoulders a little bit. So if you're a hockey player, you've probably done this a million times in a warm-up before you play. But the idea here is we get a little bit of dynamic stretching going on in the shoulder. Important thing is don't let your elbows bend. Right? You want to keep your elbows extended. And you want to go over and then try and touch your back. And come back. Okay? Raise your traps up to your ears to get it up and over. If it's too hard and you're like, oh, straightening to get over, yeah, you might have tight shoulders. Just widen your grip. So in my case, I've doubled up my rope here, but I can easily extend it, okay, to the point where I can go up to my max. So if you're at your max and you still can't get over, go as far as you can. So if that's here, cool, come back down, okay? So in my case here, just double back up. So this should open up the chest a little bit too, and if it's too easy, same. So just go the opposite way. So here, I have a bit of a stretch, but I can bring my hands in a little bit closer. We'll do it a few more times. Oh, there we go. Great exercise to be done really every day. Open up those shoulders. Make sure to get rid of all that internal rotation that you might have trained in for years doing all those push-ups. Really good to open that up. We have the good morning. So we're going to work a little bit on our hamstrings just to warm up. So the good morning. Yeah, we're making sure we generate tension down the posterior chain here, but namely down in the hamstrings. And then stand back up and flex those glutes. So you should feel a nice stretch as you get down. Keep your spine nice and neutral. Okay, don't be rounding it out. Go down to where you're comfortable. If it's here, cool. Okay. If you have a stick that you want to use, you can do that. Just to mimic having something on your back, that's cool too. Hands on the hips, that's fine as well. Just making sure that our hips actually get some action. We're loading up the hamstrings a little bit, getting them ready to fire. Do 3 more. Those hips don't lie. And now we got air squats, and then we finish up with the Samson stretch. So just a few more exercises to go. So the air squat, we've done a million times. Make sure we're planted, our toes facing forward as best as we can. We start by trying to rip the paper, so that'll generate torque. So notice my knees now are facing out, and they should be tracking over your toes. And then I want to keep my torso upright as much as possible and do your best squat. So we're going to do 10. Doesn't have to be fast. Okay? Make sure to engage your glutes on the way up. Keep that proud chest nice and tall. Try to get your hips below 90 as you warm up. It'll get a bit easier. As my knees go snap, crackle, and pop. All right. And then our Samson stretch. So again, there's a lot here, basically just to get the hips open, because 9 out of 10 times our hips are rock solid, just from all the sitting that we do. So if you're not prone to sitting, you may not notice it, but if you are, you'll notice this whole hip complex area might get really tight. So just to open it up, especially before you start any activity, Samson stretch is really simple. I'm in a lunge position, my foot's flat on the ground in the back, and I'm just gonna lean into my stretch. Now you can grab like if it's too hard on your knee, I do have a ab mat somewhere, just not here. But you can throw the ab mat. Oh my God, it's over here. So throw that on your knee. Feels better. And I'm going to lean forward. Okay, so putting a bit more pressure on this front leg. And what I want to do is engage my glute on the side that I'm actually stretching, so I can get deeper into the stretch here. So I'm tightening up my glute here, that's important. And I'm leaning forward till I feel that stretch just going down that hip flexor area right here. If you want to get a little bit deeper, bring the arm up and lean forward a little bit more. Always keeping that glute nice and tight. And get back up. Now, I do about 3 to 5 seconds and then release. So it's more of a dynamic stretch when I'm starting, rather than just have a static 30-second stretch. Just because I'm doing this, because I'm about to get ready to move. If it was after a workout, if it's part of a cool down, usually I do something a little bit longer, like a 30-second stretch, just because if you're getting ready to move, I don't want things to be telling your brain, okay, we're going to slow down. So 30 seconds of stretching, although it might feel good. Yeah, you want to get the body ready for action. So especially in all the workouts that I'm giving in this 5 days of soft selection training, you gotta go. You gotta move fast. So if you're telling your body during your warm up, hey, time to move slow, okay, it's competing signals. Okay, so you want your warm up to build up to whatever it is you're going to do. And in this case, it's a bunch of workouts that require a lot of power output, and therefore you want to make sure that things are moving right, but you're also not starting out of the blocks at a slow pace. So I just switch sides here. Same thing, foot flat, engage the glute, lean forward, and you can put your hand up if you want, and release. Go back, keep the glute fired up, and release. So if you notice that this is tight, this is a daily thing for you. Okay, if this whole area here, especially within this whole complex here, this is what obviously connects your torso to your lower body. If it's not moving well, it can lead to a whole bunch of different things. And we just did a podcast with Kingsley Yu, and you should check it out. It's all about sciatica and what are the causes that lead to back pain. And he just goes through a whole protocol of how to actually fix yourself, but own it so that, you don't have to be in that pain cave all the time. But it takes tremendous amount of work, so you have to do it. The therapist gets you to a certain point, but it's not like a car where you go and you fix it up, you tune it up, and it's good to go. You get the tune up, but then you have to physically do the work, because your body will go back to its set point, which if it's injured, will go back to the point where it wants to protect itself. And usually when it's trying to protect itself, it's going to tighten everything else up. So if that's the case, especially if you're suffering from back pain, check out the latest podcast, episode 29 on the Hard to Kill podcast. Let me know, if you enjoy it. And if you do, subscribe, make sure to share. And yeah, I mean, consistently in the top 50 in podcasts in Canada for mental health. So we'll do one more on this side. So I really appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me, and the downloads have been great. So we've got all kinds of good ones coming down the pike too. All right, so that's that, folks. That's about 15 minutes of warm up. It's a general warm up that I do, and it's the one that's found in the 5 days of soft selection program training that I do with my elite guys. So if you want that download of 5 days of training, just drop me something in the comments here. I'll gladly get that out to you, and then you can give them a shot at home. You really don't need anything to do them. A pull-up bar or just something to hang from is basically it. So if you guys are interested, drop me something in the comments. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And stay safe, wash your hands, train hard, fight easy. See you guys.